Hey, how's it going, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be counting down the top 10 things that I hope will be in Vanguard Zombies. Now, these are just things that I think would make the game more fun. There's probably a good chance that a lot of these won't be in the game, but I think that they should be in the game, and I think they would make it a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and start with our number 10 spot. Before that, though, I will say these are ordered, but I really would like to see most of them. So even if some's low on the list, that doesn't really mean I don't care that much for it. I definitely want to see a lot of these, but the ones at the top are like, these have to happen. And if they don't, that's going to be a little depressing. But anyways, let's go and get started with number 10. At the number 10 spot, we have the old point system. And honestly, I think it needs to return for multiple reasons. One, it was just better. Like, you literally could do the old strats where you shoot somebody in the leg and then you knife them, you get extra points. It added this strategy on top of zombies that made it more interesting and more compelling. And also, you could rack up points, and it made guns that weren't really that good valuable, because if you had an automatic weapon that wasn't even doing that much damage, it was still valuable to an extent because of the fact that you could rack up more points with it than something like the ray gun or a wonder weapon. Now with games like Cold War, where you have this point system where you have to get a kill in order to get points, it just makes it feel like there's no point to ever use a gun that is not that good, and that's a bit of a shame. I would honestly be happy with them even going back to the BO4 system, because in BO4 you still earned points on hits, but it wasn't as pinpoint as the original systems. It wasn't as good, but it's still better than the Cold War system in my opinion, where you literally just have to get a kill to get any points. So number 10, old point system should come back. I really think that would make the game a lot more fun. Alright, so number 9, this is just kind of out there. I have not heard anything about this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it would be pretty cool if it did happen. And that is the operator leveling, which is coming into Vanguard, which we really know almost nothing about. I think it would be cool if that operator leveling could eventually lead to some sort of mastery outfit. So like, you know how you have dark ether and dark matter for your guns? I think it'd be pretty cool if when you maxed out an operator, you could get a dark ether-esque outfit for them by playing zombies. Or if you want like a dark matter version by playing multiplayer, it doesn't matter. I just think that that would be a cool reward that would add on top of not only the dark ether grind, which we're probably going to have in Vanguard for our guns, but it would also be cool to have the dark ether outfit grind if that was a thing. I don't think it will be a thing, but it would be cool. Either way, I hope that the operator leveling actually is somewhat like important and gives somewhat of a good reward instead of just a pointless number that goes up that doesn't even matter. The number 8 thing is that I think that Easter eggs need to be hard to solve again. Now, back in the day, don't mean to sound like a boomer, but back in my day, zombies Easter eggs would take a good while to solve. A day, couple days, heck, in some instances even up to a week or two. And these days with Cold War, these Easter eggs literally will get solved in like an hour or two. Like, I remember when the Infinite Warfare map Raven the Redwoods came out, everybody was like, dude, the Easter egg got solved in like 5 to 10 hours. Now Easter eggs are literally solved in an hour or two. It's ridiculous. Like, they need to be harder to solve because it makes watching these Easter egg hunts way more enjoyable. And if the Easter egg is longer and it's harder to solve, it makes it more fun to replay. Now, I'm not saying they should go all the way in, like, you know, Revelations, where it took like a week and a half, 2 weeks, or whatever it was to find the Easter egg because the steps were absolutely ridiculous. But I think that they need to be more involved. I know that they're trying to make the Easter eggs easier to complete and solve for casual players, but I'm going to be honest, if you're a casual player, you're not doing Easter eggs. Like, I just feel like no one that is picking up zombies for the first time and doesn't watch YouTube, I don't see them doing even the Cold War Easter eggs, because at the end of the day, they're still hidden. They're still not easy to solve. Like, they're easier compared to the old games, but they're not, like, there's no markers that just tell you everything to do. So I feel like the only people who are being hurt by this new system, these easier Easter eggs, are the hardcore players, because at the end of the day, casuals aren't even doing them at all. Like, maybe a little bit more than back then, but not enough for it to make a difference. So, but yeah, that's number 8. I do think the Easter eggs should be harder to solve, because it would make not only watching the Easter egg hunts more enjoyable, but it would make doing them more enjoyable, in my opinion. Number 7 is that the Ether Crystal upgrade system that we have in Cold War should come back. Now, I don't know if they've said that it's coming back. I imagine a lot of Cold War's mechanics and systems will come back, but I don't think we've got any confirmation about the Ethereum Crystal upgrade system. I think it was a great system. I think it needs to come back because it added a reason to keep playing. It added a grind. It did make it to where the perks in certain things, if you didn't have them upgraded all the way, were like trash compared to back then when you would get Jug for the first time and it would be amazing. There was like a gradual upgrade that had to be done, but I think it was good because it made you want to play more. Like, it made that first month or two of Cold War more enjoyable just to get in and play, because of the fact that I could actually upgrade what I was doing. So I think they should bring that back, and I think they should go even further with it and give us more reasons to grind, because that's always a good thing. So the number 6 spot, this is going to be destructible environments. Now, if any of you played the Vanguard beta for the multiplayer, even though, me personally, I'm not really a big multiplayer fan for this game, one thing I thought could be a really cool addition into zombies is the destructible environment. So if you play the Vanguard multiplayer, there are walls that you can melee down or rush through that will open up new lines of sight and new things. And by the end of a match of multiplayer, all of the debris is everywhere. The map looks very destroyed and it looks like an actual battle went down. I think that would be cool in zombies. Now, I don't think that they have to go as far as making the entire map look totally different, but I think it would be really neat if there were different pathways and stuff that could be opened or traversed with this destructible environment system. I think that would create a really cool gameplay loop. So I think that would be cool. They should definitely add that. I think they might add it because it's in the multiplayer, but we don't know for a fact yet, but I think they should. So coming at the number 5 spot is a new feature that is coming to Vanguard Zombies called the Altar of Covenants. And I think that it needs to allow for really diverse builds. So in case you don't know, the Altar of Covenants is a machine or something that basically you can go up to, and you have to give it sacrificial hearts. I have no idea how you get that. I don't think they've explained it. But you get these hearts, I assume, from doing objectives or just surviving, and you give it to this machine, and it will give you the option to pick a modifier. So think kind of like Gobblegums or something to that extent. Like, you know, you get one that makes you do more headshot damage, or makes you run faster, or makes you, you know, have ammo on kill, or just any sort of thing like that. I think they showed one where it was like headshots make explosions or something like that. Basically, it is a giant list of abilities that you can add onto your character, and apparently they are randomized every time you come back to the machine if you keep giving it hearts. So I think this system could be really cool, but it has to be interesting, and it needs to have things that can stack on top of each other, because if they just have a bunch of random abilities all over the place, that's not going to be as fun as saying, okay, I want to make my character the ultimate tank. I want to make my character the ultimate offense. Like, if you could just keep going to this machine and basically build your character in a certain way, almost like an RPG or something. Like, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but if we could have some sort of build customization to somewhat of an extent in Vanguard Zombies, I think that would be really cool. And the fact that it's randomized already is exciting because it means that it will make replaying the game more fun. And I think they just really need to capitalize on that idea of having a build in Zombies, because that would make things pretty interesting in my opinion. So for the number 4 spot, we have content needs to be delivered faster. Now, Cold War, in my opinion, just did not give us the content that we were wanting. It did deliver content really fast for a zombies game. Like, we had Outbreak, we had all these different modes, but I feel like with Cold War Zombies, they just stretched themselves way too thin because they were giving us round-based maps, and they were giving us Outbreak regions, and they were giving us these side modes like Onslaught and Cranked and all this that didn't really get any attention. They were adding a ton of content to Cold War, but it didn't feel like it because we only got 4 total round-based maps, which is the same as World at War back in 2008, which is honestly disappointing, and I don't think we should be going back to World at War's content as the standard, because that game, Zombies, was literally an afterthought in World at War. So the fact that Cold War has the same amount of maps as that game sucks. And I think that with Vanguard, they need to just hone in on either this mode that they've created with the launch of Vanguard that's supposed to be a mix between Outbreak and round-based, or they should just give us round-based maps, because if they could just focus in on those things and not do a bunch of extra stuff and stretch themselves too thin, that would be good. Because again, Cold War, there was plenty of content, but half of it didn't even get played, in my opinion. And Outbreak, the regions were just, you know, it was content, but I can't say it was anything that we cared about. Like, we need to get more maps, and we need to get a bigger expansion on whatever this launch on Fang or whatever it's called. I don't even know how to pronounce that map. We need to get expansions on that and round-based maps, and we need to get them at a faster rate, because it looks like Treyarch has more staff for Zombies now, because I saw a lot of people on Vanguard Zombies that I have never seen in the Treyarch videos in the past, so I'm assuming they got more people. So give us more content, because we need more content than a game from 13 years ago. Alright, the number 3 spot, we have DLC maps for this game need to be unique and diverse. What I mean by this is, back in the older games, like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, we had maps that were just so out of the ordinary. We had going to the moon, going to a jungle in the middle of nowhere, going to an underground abandoned western town. You know, the maps were so crazy and cool and interesting back then. Dreisendrach even, you know, going to a castle in the mountains. All these maps were so unique and diverse from one another, and it made it feel like you were getting something new. Fast forward to games like World War II Zombies and Cold War, which I didn't really play much World War II Zombies, but Cold War I definitely play a lot of. The maps feel too grounded. They don't really feel like really cool areas to play in. Like Cold War, you had D Machine, which was basically a factory under Nocturne Toten. And then Firebase Z, you had a facility in Vietnam, which was cool, but it still honestly didn't feel that different from what we were used to. And then Mauer Toten is basically just like city streets or something. Like, it's a fun map, but it's not really an exciting place to play in Zombies. I mean, we could literally go outside and go drive down the street and basically get Mauer Toten. And then Forsaken had a cool backdrop but it was another facility. Like, the maps just weren't really that exciting in my opinion. You know, Black Ops 3 is just every single map was taking you to an entirely different part of the world. Some places weren't even real. It was just absolutely insane, and I think that we need something like that with Vanguard. Now, I imagine we're probably not going to be going all the way back to having maps that are, you know, out of left field, because they're probably going to want to stay with the tone that they have created with this first launch mode for Vanguard. But we just need something more than what Cold War had, because Cold War, the maps just felt boring and repetitive. Even though they were good maps, I don't see them being the most memorable maps like back in the day. So I definitely think that they need to be more diverse from one another and more creative. So at the number 2 spot, this is a big one. This is a real big one in my opinion, and you've probably heard somebody like Lex talk about this and some other YouTubers who have seen the Vanguard Zombies reveal, and that is that the maps, the different locations in the launch Der on Fang mode, or whatever it's called, they should be survival maps. Now, the way that the launch mode for Vanguard is going to work essentially is you're going to have a hub area, and you're going to have, I think, like 3 or 4 different side worlds or something like that you will teleport to. So like there's one that is a multiplayer map called Hotel Royale. It's basically the rooftop of some hotel or something like that. And then there is another one which is like set on a farm or something with like a big like windmill. I don't know like the exact details on that one. And then the last one is a remake of Shino Numa, which is really interesting and kind of out of nowhere. But these are basically different hub areas that are small locations, not super small, but you know, more like, I would say, I would assume they're gonna be like a decent size, but not like as small as like Nuketown or something. Maybe like the size of town, maybe from Black Ops 2, maybe a little bit bigger. But these maps should be playable on their own, just like in Black Ops 2. So in Black Ops 2, you had transit, and you could play transit, which is the entire, you know, map where you can basically drive around the bus and go to each location. Or if you wanted to, you could play in the bus depot area, you could play in the town area, you could play in the farm area, and then eventually they added, if you played turned, you could play in the diner. And these were all little bitty parts of the map that you could play in that kept the longevity of Black Ops 2 going until the first DLC, because it wasn't just transit, but it was also the different subsections of transit that could be played in a pure survival mode. So like town was like the most popular one back in Black Ops 2, and everybody loved playing town almost more than transit. So if we could get a system like this where we could pick each one of these hub worlds and play them as standalone survival maps, just like back in Black Ops 2, I feel like that would help with the content drought, because all they're doing is taking what we have and separating it and allowing it to be played on its own, but it would feel like a totally new thing, and it would feel like way more content than it actually is. So I think that would be really fun, and I really hope they're going to do this. I don't think they're going to do this, and it's going to make the community mad, but I think it should be done. If it's not, it's a big missed opportunity on Treyarch's part. I mean, literally, you have Shino Numa in there. Like, come on. Just let us play Shino Numa. So that's the number 2 spot. I think that would be epic if that was done, but honestly, I'm a little bit doubtful at this point. And the number 1 spot, in my opinion, is that the game needs to be harder than Cold War. Cold War, if you do not have the Rampage Inducer turned on the first 20 rounds, is just really way too easy, in my opinion. You can get to round 100 in record speed. You can get to round 100 without even breaking a sweat. Like, I'm not saying that high rounds were always super difficult. They were in the early games, but like in Black Ops 3 and 4 even, I wouldn't say they were super hard. They're more time consuming. Zombies has never exactly been a game that is extremely skillful, in my opinion, but Cold War is just too dang easy. Like, I want to be able to have that feeling when I'm playing Vanguard Zombies, where I'm running from area to area, fighting for my life. I got zombies running straight after me. I got the boss dude in the back with a minigun. Feels like actual survival. Cold War, even without a wonder weapon, you could just sit there and take like 20-30 hits from zombies if you have full body armor, and it is just honestly a joke. I don't mind easier maps. Like, I don't hate Cold War, even though it's the easiest zombies game by far. But I think that when you have something that is harder to do good at, it automatically, in my opinion, makes it more replayable because you want to get better at it. Like, a good example, not to go too far off topic, but when it comes to battle royales, I feel like if you have a battle royale game that is harder to win at, as long as it's not harder to win at for some stupid reason, if it's harder to win at because it actually takes a decent amount of skill, in my opinion, I'm more drawn to that game than a game that I could win at like 5 times a day and not even really feel like it's that fun or challenging. So stuff that's harder in games is usually more replayable, in my opinion, and more interesting to play. So that's about it for the top 10 things that I want from Vanguard Zombies. I really hope that the game's gonna be good. I have no idea. It's starting off in a drastically different way from any other zombies game we've ever played, so this could either go really well and be a breath of fresh air in the mode, or it could go really terrible and absolutely ruin any hype for Vanguard going forward, and that would honestly suck. So I hope the game's good. I hope that at least half of these things on my list make it into the game. And yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below if you agree with me on this or not, or what you want to see. And of course, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content on the way. And I'll see you guys in the next video.